Hi students, good morning. Let us continue our lesson, the Chinese civilization. We already studied their religious practices, architecture, art and craft like that. The next topic is achievements of the Chinese people in the different field. What are the contributions or the achievements of the Chinese people? First one is their script, Chinese script. Listen that one. The Chinese script is known as ideographic script. Ideographic. Actually, they used different symbols that represents an idea. Different ideas based on the idea. They means introduced different symbols. Initially, there were thousands of pictures were used at the first time when they started their script. At the first time, they used different symbols. More than 1,000 pictures were represented, different words. But later, they developed this ideographic script, which continues till today. Now, also there is following the same script. They knew all one knew that ideographic script in China. The Chinese, they wrote for writing, they used silk and bamboo slips they used for writing these kind of things at first, and with a brush that was made of camel hair instead of pen. They were used camel hair used and made one brush for writing these symbols. So once again remember, the Chinese script is known as ideographic script. Instead of symbols, different symbols they used for identifying different ideas. That's why their script is known as ideographic script. Also they used to write, they wrote on silk and bamboo slips by using for instead of pen or those kind of things. They used one brush. It was made of camel hair. Okay students, listen the script of the Chinese people. Next, it is in the field of science and technology. What are the contributions in the field of science and technology? The Chinese made following contributions in the field of science and technology. First of all, their credit for making paper. We already studied in previous lesson. That means the Egyptian people, they learned these kind of things from China. So, their credit for making paper, that goes to the Chinese. They developed the art of block printing. They knew the art of block printing, and this was done by carving out blocks of wood and then putting ink on them. The blocks were then pressed on paper to get the impression. Like that, we know that these kind of things are using for printing their symbols and ideology. That was known as block printing. Different shape wood items or wood blocks used for printing this block printing. So remember, they knew art of block printing, and also they invented the seismograph in the 2nd century. We know that seismograph is used for record earthquake. It was Shang Hang of China's Han dynasty invented the seismograph and called it was Hufeng Didong Yai. You remember that this Chinese language is not at all needed. Anyway, just remember the invention want to study like this way. They invented seismograph and it was used for record earthquakes. That's enough. Used for record earthquakes. So that was the another invention of the Chinese people. Along these kind of inventions, the Chinese invented gunpowder and also mariner's compass. It was used for finding the directions for the navigators, and also water clock they invented, water mill, wheelbarrow and umbrellas. These are the different inventions of the Chinese people related as their science and technology. Not only this much, in the field of mathematics, the Chinese numerical system was multiplicative. Actually their numerical system, it was multiplicative way itself they used. Basically the number was the multiple of the largest unit followed by the next largest unit and so on like that. For example, they write 500, they would write that characters for 105, and also they invented and used the abacus for calculations. I think you all are remembering that it was one of the activity we followed in our school when it was the regular class that time itself, So that abacus was invented by the Chinese people related as mathematics. The Chinese called the abacus as sanpan. They called in their language it was as Sanpan. It consists of 7 rods with 2 beads on each rod in the upper deck and the 5 beads it is in the bottom deck. Remember, it's given the picture, you can see from the picture itself. The beads are counted by moving them up or down towards the beam. That was the practice or the ideology they followed for finding the numbers and all by using abacus. It was in the contributions of the Chinese civilization in the field of mathematics. Next is astronomy. The Chinese calendar was a combination of solar and lunar combinations, or both one calculation based off solar and lunar. They followed their calendar. The months were based on the moon's movements and it was comprised 29 or 30 days in per month. However, the length of the year was correctly found to be 365 and 1/4 days. So like that way, the correct way itself they find out the year, the number of days in a year. So listen students, here are the achievements of the Chinese people. It's ended up script, science and technology and mathematics, also astronomy. Our lesson is over. Anyway, the last or the conclusion of the Chinese civilization same as the previous civilization, like as decline. The Bronze Age lasted in China till about 750 BCE and also these dynasties we studied. It is not at all needed to by heart and all, just for read for understanding only. It was began to decline by the 8th century BCE, the Shu dynasty. We studied in the first of this lesson. Many feudal lords broke away from the central rule and proclaimed themselves independent, and also same way how the other civilizations declined, like that way some small and like that wars was happened and it was caused for the decline of the Chinese civilization. Read this that's enough. Anyway, achievements want to study. Read the textbook very well after listening the class. Okay students, thank you.